So on this short video, I'm going to quickly talk about the upcoming weapon banner for Phase 2 of version 2.8. So featured on that banner will be Yoimiya's signature weapon, the Thundering Pulse, which I do happen to have a copy of. So we'll bring that up and show that on the screen here. So is this a must-pull banner? I'm going to talk about that right now. So basically, Thundering Pulse is the best in-slot weapon for Yoimiya. It's perfect for if you're increasing attack. As you can see on the passive, I'm not going to read it out, but it increases normal attack damage. That's basically the majority of the purpose of here. So it's really for other, specifically normal attack bow characters. I'm going to be honest with you, not many of them are normal attack bow characters. Like if you look here, like Yelan is not really, Child Venti no, Ganyu is a charged attack character, right? So really, just as an example, right? And then Aloy, no one really uses, just to be fair, but I do use her, but like she's more of like, not really for normal attack. Fischl's not a normal, like none of them are normal attack. So we can go down the list, right? But none of them are really normal attack. I mean, maybe Kuchosara, but not really. So like, I would just say this is a very niche weapon. So it's very specific and it's only for Yoimiya. Now, who else can make use of this weapon though? This weapon actually can be made use of by Child. And I previously at one point did have it on Child temporarily, just to try it out. Because Child's kit does allow him to convert his elemental skill to those hydro blades, and those hydro blades, when you're attacking with them, they're considered normal attack, kind of, right? So that's why it's okay. But I would say, obviously, he has his own weapon, Polar Star, which is specific for his kit. So I would say, again, Thundering Pulse is very niche. It is a very good stat stick though. As you can see at level 90, it has a really high crit damage and base attack. So it's a lovely looking bow, but it is a very niche weapon. So for that reason, I'm going to say it's a skip. Especially if you are also skipping Yoimiya's banner anyway, because we're right stuck in the middle here before the end of the 2.0 series and right before 3.0 is coming with us and Sumeru. New characters, new weapons, new events, new everything, new mechanics probably, right? Dendro, etc. So I don't think that it's a good time to spend the wishes here. Okay? Now, the other weapons on the banner are Summit Shaper, which I don't have, but Summit Shaper is basically a sword that's similar in effect to, let me see if I have, because I don't have very many of the Geo series weapons. So it has a similar effect to the passive of the Enforged. It's also very similar to the Memory of Dust, which I also don't have, right? And also the Vortex Vanquisher, which is the polearm version of that for Zhongli. I also don't have that either. So I don't have very many of the Geo Li Yue series weapons. So they have the similar mechanic in the passive here. I'm just not going to read it specifically because it's not exactly the same. But anyway, the Summit Shaper is a sword that was originally meant for Albedo. However, Albedo has better swords. If you've been around since the beginning of the game or early in the game 1.2, you would have gotten his Festering Desire, which was great for him. But he was but of course, since more recently, earlier in the 2.0 or 2.1, I believe, or no, 2.2-ish, around there, right in the early 2s, he got his Cinnabar Spindle, which is a really good weapon for him. And it's his best right now. And even though it's a 4-star event weapon, but it is technically his best. So you don't need the Summit Shaper at all for him. And most people probably wouldn't even bother with that. Now, is the Summit Shaper on its own going to be like an okay blade? It's okay. Like, it's going to be like similar to... I'm just going to bring up this again. It's going to be similar to this, so it's going to be universal. This Unforged is a pretty universal weapon. It's not going to be their signature best. The Lier weapons are not signature best for any character, even though they make it so that like the Vortex Vanquisher is supposed to be Zhongli's and Summit Shaper is supposed to be for Albedo. However, those characters have better options, let's put it that way. So technically, these are not the signature best. So I would say Summit Shaper is also a skip. Now, moving back along, since we're on the Claymore side already, so on the 4-star side, what are we getting? We're going to get the Sacrificial Greatsword. This is a decent weapon. It's pretty good. I would say for any Claymore character, it's a placeholder, of course. It's a support placeholder. This weapon would be good, for example, I put it previously on Chongyun at one point. This would be good for any of the Claymore characters that need energy. So this is for this is more for support or sub DPS characters. So yeah, Chongyun was fine with it. If you use Razor, maybe it would be okay for Xinyan as well, who's coming on the upcoming banner. Like, this is a very universal blade, so I wouldn't sleep on this, but I wouldn't say you have to pull on this banner just to get this, because it does come back often enough. Let's just move along here. So next we have the Dragon's Bane on the banner. is this one. And the Dragon's Bane is okay early weapon for Shangling, for example, for Hu Tao. It's okay because you have the Elemental Mastery and you have the Pyro Damage passive. But of course, there are better options for both of those characters, especially if you've been doing the fishing, which is a permanent event. You could have gone the catch, and the catch is better for Shangling, for example, good for Raiden Shogun as well, right? If you don't have this and you like lost your 50/50 and you got like Scarlet Spine, etc., this is okay too, right? So I would just say like the Dragon's Bane is not a must pull either, but it's a good placeholder if you do have it, but you would replace it eventually. And then moving along back to the sword side, then we have the Flute. The Flute is not a great weapon, but it's a good early game placeholder weapon once again. It's not going to be the best for anybody. I did previously have it on my early build, Gene, excuse me, early on in my early game. Of course, that was a long time ago. It's just resting with a Chi Chi right now because I didn't fodder it, and I figured she doesn't need any other weapons, so she's fine with it. It's kind of cute on her, actually, but I just left it there. So this is not a specifically great weapon that you need to have, but it's an okay weapon for early game for sure, and newer players for sure, but I wouldn't pull on the weapon banner just for that. Next, we're moving along to bows. So one of them is going to be the Alley Hunter, and this is a Monset limited series event, not limited series, sorry, not event, I mean, let me rephrase. It's a limited event gotcha series weapon that comes back here and there on certain banners. This is not a great weapon, in my opinion. This is okay. I previously had, I think, another copy of this, and I just dumped it as fodder. I have since kept another copy of it from previous reruns. This reruns pretty often, and I've just left it here just so that I can showcase it here for the screen so that I then have the stuff information. I'm not going to build this or use this on anybody, although it could be useful for characters that are not meant to be on the field. So, for example, like Fischl, where she leaves her Oz on the field, right? Who else doesn't really need to be on the field? Like maybe you could say, I don't know, like maybe Amber, I don't know, like this is not really a must-have bow, let's just put it out that way. Like some characters like leave things on the field and then they can make use of this, but this is not a must-have. Let's just skip over it. And then last but not least, I don't have it, but it's a wine and song. I foddered it a long time ago and never picked up another one, so it's going to be a catalyst in the catalyst section here. I don't have it on the screen, but it will have a similar kind of situation. I believe it has an energy recharge, or correct me if I'm wrong, it has something to do with energy recharge, I believe. And it's not going to be like the best or anything like that. I'm just going to, like, people said that the wine and song could be good for Mona back then. Obviously, Mona has better options. I would just not bother with it. Again, it's another Monset limited series gotcha banner weapon that comes back pretty often. I would say it's a skip. Overall, then, just to summarize, I believe that this weapon banner is overall a skip because of the positioning and the timing of it, and also because the weapons on there are not that great. Aside from the Thundering Pulse, if you really want to kit out your yoimiya, perhaps your child, maybe. But if you're doing for child, maybe wait for the Polar Star to come back around. Child does fine with the rust, by the way, so that was what I had on him before, and he was fine with it. So just keep that in mind. But those are my thoughts on the weapon banner coming up. What do you guys think? Are you guys pulling on this banner? Are you guys going to kit out your characters with it, or are you guys skipping it? Let me know in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one. I previously just did a banner discussion for the characters in yoimiya's rerun banner, so if you're interested, check that out as well. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much.